girls, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Rally Town Sports brings you the Week 11 NFL Pick'em. Last week we had a lot of interesting football games. Obviously, starting with that Thursday night matchup between the Bengals and the Ravens. We will dive into all of that and more, and then obviously dive into our Week 11 picks. But Todd, how are you, sir?
Good, man. It's weird doing this on a Thursday. I feel a little out of sorts, but I'm here, baby. We're here and cooking. Let's get it.
Chat. Sorry for the delay this week. It's been a little bit of a conflicting week with our schedules. Todd had the big wigs in yesterday. Obviously, knocked their socks off. We would not expect anything less from anybody on this panel. So, Mr. Gottschall, well done.
Thanks.
I had to be in early this morning to fix some things in the car wash, and Aaron and Corey are both helping out with the wifeys in their respective roles. So obviously put a delay on the week, but we are here, and we are happy to be here, and we thank you guys for being here as well.
Absolutely.
So Todd, please bring me a brief recap of last week. What was your biggest surprise? What are you looking forward most to this week? Just kind of give me a nice overall wrap up of last week and headed into this week.
Yeah. Bengals defense continues to struggle, so that's something that's going on.
I do have a bone to pick because I was the only one that took the Bengals last week. They should have won.
They should have won. Officiating obviously came into play there, but you also can't give up 84-yard touchdowns with 3 missed tackles, right? That those things can happen too. The penalty, the non-penalty at the 2-point conversion.
3 face masks. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
like,
it's and a defensive holding and a pass interference. Like, it was egregious. One of the worst no calls. Probably the worst.
Was it worse than the Vikings face mask on Sam Darnold, where the ref was staring right at him? I agree. I think it's worse.
There's an official staring behind Joe Burrow, looking at that play, and Matabuke has both hands on face masks. So
he's got
it is what it is.
Down on a face mask. He's got his hand on Joe Burrow's face mask, and then in the background you can see somebody else grabbing a face mask or illegal hands of the face too, like all in one picture.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
The Eagles, who we kind of thought were frauds getting into this season, I don't think they're frauds anymore, just based on and obviously the Cowboys are
Cowboys.
Right, they're reeling, but they put 34 and they never let them remotely close it. They did exactly what they're supposed to do to a bad team, right?
They do get Jordan Mailata back this week too.
Right, tonight in about 30 minutes.
Tonight.
So,
yeah, about 30 minutes. So we're gonna have to hustle, but
yeah. So, my other big takeaway is that the Giants are much worse than I thought they were going to be. I really thought, because of how good their defense is overall, that it would allow them to win close games, and their record reflects otherwise. So, and it's just a lot. I think this is the first year, and maybe it's I don't know so many lucky breaks for so many teams.
Yeah. No,
a ton of lucky breaks this week, for your boys included. So,
for sure. Like on the other end of that, we have been on the wrong end of a lot of things this year. Like, especially that Indy game. Like, that was a game that had really bad calls in it. Like, there's been a lot of games that have been decided by poor officiating, and it is a travesty, and it is something that needs to be fixed in this league. But one thing that I will agree with you on is that the Giants are horrible, and I hedged that by taking the Panthers last week. I was literally the only person to take the Panthers last week, and it paid off. Although it didn't pay off against you, we ended up tying on our picks because you hedged your happiness, and I took the Bengals, and we each ended up 10-4. Other than that, we were square on every other game. Those are the only 2 games we were opposite. Which was nuts. Like,
just Charlie, your point in the chat. So Charlie said, "How could officials miss 3 calls when the focus is on the impact players?" Al Michaels waited for the Bengals, no response for the NFL.
You're
So I
absolutely
could
right.
give you,
You're
yeah. So
absolutely right.
I'll give you my perspective of it, Charlie, and then we don't have to talk about it anymore. The NFL prides themselves on keeping players safe. That play is a prime example of not keeping players safe, right? And
Correct.
obviously mistakes happen. I understand that. A missed holding penalty, maybe somebody, I don't know, has a false start on a play that impacts a game, whatever. But when you're talking about violent acts like a face mask, where you're moving a player's head and neck around, not to mention a missed roughing the passer call on Marlon Humphrey, where he physically tackled Burrow 2 seconds after the ball is out, full body weight on top of
Oh,
him.
dude, you like when you sent me that clip and I watched it, like holy shit, like what a
There's
fucking
no
horrible
there's no
call.
respect for
Horrible
player
no
safety,
call.
in my opinion. Yeah, no
Yeah.
respect for player safety, in my opinion, at that point. You can't stand by that. You can't say that that's a focus. It's super disappointing. That's the main thing. Like, I'm just disappointed that people's safety is now, and
It's in
and
question.
football's a violent sport, right? I understand that these guys sign up for it. It's the best athletes arguably in the world, let's say best athletes in the United States on the field together. And now you're not taking care of
By
those
and
guys.
far the most physical sport that exists in North America,
Right.
without
It's
question.
excluding fighting sports, right? We're not talking
Yeah, like
about
we're not talking
boxing.
UFC or boxing or anything like that, but like we're
Right.
talking like team sports, like
Team sports. I
baseball,
agree with you.
basketball,
Soccer,
arguably
hockey. Yeah.
hockey. Hockey's a very physical sport. They actually do allow fighting there, so I don't know many hockey fans, in the same realm, but
Player
yes,
safety's out the window. Doesn't fucking matter to these guys.
yeah,
People getting
absolutely.
fined for face masks that don't get called, which has happened 2 weeks in a row
Yeah.
now. That's fucking disrespectful. It really is.
It's disrespectful to the players that are getting fined for these penalties. Honestly, like if you're gonna fine these players for penalties but not call it on the field, then like they shouldn't be fined in general. Like they should not lose money. Like
I agree with you. Why
like
are you finding someone for an event that
exactly
happened that didn't get called? Like, that's
that
crazy.
fine should go on the official, not the player, for
Well,
the lack of the call.
yeah, don't take it out on the look, I don't agree. Face masks happen in sports, right? Like, I
Correct.
understand that that's a thing that can happen in a physical sport like football, but you can't hold someone accountable if it's not a penalty,
Correct.
right?
That
You know?
like you want officiating to be better. Like find the person that's supposed to call it rather than the player that's committing the act. Like
Yeah.
that's
They gotta
something
do something,
that's
man.
something we see in real life. Like when you see police officers lose their jobs for making the wrong decision. Like
Sure.
it's the same thing as an official making the wrong decision on the field. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like we're talking very different scenarios, but the concept is
Right.
the same. Like
Right, conceptually, you're not paralleling it,
conceptually,
you're saying
the
yeah,
concept is the same. Like
I got you. Yeah, I hear you.
we're charging the wrong person with the crime. Like let's make sure that we're taking action and making sure that the right people are being accounted for. So
Yep, I agree with you,
um
man.
other than that, Tez, you owe me a pizza, bro. Caleb Williams is trash.
So the Bears
Caleb
did
Williams is
fire Shane.
trash.
They fired Shane Waldron, which I think is a step in the right direction.
It is.
I'm not ready to give up on Caleb Williams. I'm just not. I know he's playing bad. I
The
agree with
bet
you.
was this season that Caleb Williams was going to be an impact player, and he has been trashed. Their punter has more yards than
I saw that.
Caleb Williams does. Like at this point, we're in week 10. It's okay. You can buy me that pizza whenever you want, Taz.
Charlie said just like umpires put battery clips on their balls. That's why umpires are getting replaced, man.
Absolutely. Like
Home
umpires
plate
won't be a
umpires are getting
thing.
yeah.
They
You
won't be a
have to
thing in
have
the
them
next
for
10 years.
yeah. I mean, you're gonna have 2 on the field or something like that, right? Maybe 3. Just make the triangle.
You're gonna have your line judges and like your plays at the plate, but like you're not gonna have like in the next 10 years, we're not gonna see umpires behind the plate.
Right. I don't 100% agree with it's just a replacement, but accountability is kind of where I'm getting at
Like
least
I like the
for
head tap,
NFL
like
officials.
challenging calls. Like
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with
that's
it.
as far as I want to take that. Like I still want to have the home plate umpire and I want there to be a limit on how many challenges you can have in a game, unless it's
Sure.
but unless it's somebody terrible. But like those umpire, well, obviously they'll get pushed out, but because of this. But either way, all right, let's recap last week and then we'll dive into this week. So, best record last week, we had a 3-way tie between myself, Todd, and Ariel. We were 10-4.
Nice.
And the crazy thing is we all had different picks. Like
Yep.
it was nuts. Ariel was the only person that took the Dolphins on Monday night, so big shout out to you.
Dude, he low key almost called the score too.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he said like 27-20. It was 23-15. That's pretty fucking close.
Yeah,
that's pretty close.
I mean, when you're off by 4 points in both directions, I mean that's pretty solid. So
that's crazy. Good for him.
Yeah, so 3-way tie for first. We had a bunch of people at 9-5. We had Aaron, Corey, Josh, Pops, all at 9-5. We had one person. Tez was at 8-6, and Ryan was at 7-7. So overall for the chat, Tez is still in the lead. He's got a 1-game lead over Pops. Tez is 152. Pops is 99-53. So is Ariel. So there's 2-way tie for second, and Josh is in third at 98-54. Todd, you are in first on the panel and overall at 101-51.
Ooh, let's go.
Congrats, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely tearing it up. I am in second at 94-58. Corey is at 93-59, and Aaron is in the cellar at 89-63. So what an interesting year it has been for the picks. And I'll tell you what, this week it is not going to get any easier.
No,
especially this evening. Here in about 20 minutes, we're gonna have an absolute banger of a game coming on. We've got the Washington Commanders on the road versus the Eagles. The Eagles have seemed to have found their stride, and they are at home against the Commanders team that took a really, really, really tough loss last week to my Pittsburgh Steelers. So this could be the game of the week, and it could be the first game of the week. Like, in all seriousness, like Jaden Daniels and that Washington Commanders team has been playing unbelievable. The Eagles, they seem to have found their stride. They're getting Jordan Mailata back today. So Saquon Barkley is going to have a tried and true offensive line that has gotten it done year in and year out. Man, this is going to be a good one. It is going to be an incredibly tough game to pick. So where are you headed on this one?
Corey, miss you too, buddy. Take care of that little baby boy. Get back when you're ready.
Absolutely.
Get back when you're ready.
Yeah, take your time.
I'm taking the Eagles tonight. And the only reason I'm taking the Eagles tonight is because this is their divisional matchup at home. They got to play Washington again the week before Christmas. And I think that game's going to mean something to Washington. It's at home. That's going to be, at that point, that's potentially them clinching a wild card spot or even clinching the division, depending on how Philadelphia kind of shakes out over the next couple weeks. But give me the Eagles at home. Philadelphia is the Eagles are specifically a franchise that runs entirely on the vibes of their fans. And again, their fans are fucking outrageous. But I think the Eagles take this one here. It's going to be a super good game. I have a feeling this one's going to end up being a shootout. But yeah, give me the Eagles at home. And I have Aaron's picks as well. And Aaron took the Commanders tonight.
Yeah, if you could forward those to me so I can plug them in real quick, I will make sure that those get in here. I'm currently putting Corey's picks in as we speak. So
I'm texting it to you right now, pal.
So Pops is taking the Eagles. Josh is taking the Eagles. Mr. James is also taking the Eagles. God, this is such a tough. I mean, like Aaron taking the Commanders is like that's not even like an egregious pick at this point in the season. Thank you.
What's up, Carp? Dude, hold on real quick.
Go for it.
Real quick before I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. So Friday morning, we're driving to fucking Pennsylvania for this wine trip that we did this past weekend. I get a call from some guy named Ryan saying they need one of my guys to go out and do a job, help them on a job. I'm not going to speak specifically on our industries. And I was like, all right, I'm going to just text me over the info. And then I send him a follow-up text. I get a phone call, or I call him a little bit later, and it's fucking Carp.
That's great.
Just a thing of beauty, dude. We went back and finished the job on Monday. Carp came out. It was cool to see him. It's been a while. Got to see a couple other guys that played baseball at Fairfield that I hadn't seen in a really, really long time. So it's like a little reunion. I spent way entirely too long on that job site than I needed to, but it was worth it. It was a good time.
I mean, you have to at that point, man. Like,
yeah,
no,
we're all working fucking hard, so it's cool to just relax for a little bit and shoot the shit.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I'm not even really sure what I want to do with this game. I know I have to make a pick here on the spot. Carb's taking the
he's taking the Commanders.
Carb's taking the Commanders. God, this is man, like my heart tells me to take the Commanders, but my mind is telling me to take the Eagles, and that's kind of been my Achilles heel this year, is deciding between my heart and my mind.
What's your vibes tell you?
Vibes are telling me to take the Commanders tonight, boys.
Do it. Put it. Lock her in, baby.
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders tonight. They're coming off a tough L. They've got something to prove. The Eagles are obviously, a great team. Saquon Barkley coming off the most ridiculous play I think anybody's ever seen in NFL history. I don't know if we even talked about that.
Oh yeah, we spent a good amount of time on it.
But man, I've never seen anything like it. Saquon Barkley made the New York Giants look like a bunch of idiots, letting him go by that one play and that one play alone. So
he didn't even have to play super hard against the Cowboys last week either. He just kind of hung out.
No, he didn't. This is a game I figured we'd be split on. But yeah, I'm taking I'm gonna take the Commanders this week. Just strictly off of vibes. So
do it, baby. Let's do it.
It is what it is. Panel is split, chat split, and I'm not shocked in the least. So all right. Let's move on to the 1:00 games on Sunday. Dolphins coming off of a Monday night win over the Rams, which I think shocked a lot of people, considering how well the Rams were playing. I know Tez was disappointed. The Raiders are just, at this point in the season, they're bad. They're absolutely awful. So I don't think we need to spend too terribly much time on this game, but do you have any thoughts?
Just one interesting thing that I want to point out from that Monday night game, and I'm not really sure if it's something worth noting or if it's just based on the Rams' run defense. Raheem Mostert just didn't play.
I cut him this week in fantasy.
Yeah, just something to note. Jalen Wright came back, and played third down snaps over Mostert. So just something to keep an eye on. Obviously they extended Mostert before the season started. So just an interesting little tidbit there. Yeah. Let's not spend we want to watch football. So let's not spend a ton of time on this thing. Give me the Dolphins. Tua's back. It seems like he's getting his sea legs back too. He's not trying to stretch the field too much. And, from a fantasy perspective, if you're a guy that's got a Tyreek Hill like I do, and you just fucking you just shit in the bed, losing by 6 to 8 points a week because the guy that you drafted in the first round isn't really putting up first round numbers. Whatever. This isn't a fantasy football podcast, but um, I think the Dolphins are moving back in the right direction, but they're getting into an AFC hunt that's there, and they have a long way to come back. I think the playoff hopes are kind of gone for them, but
Yeah.
if they can, if they could finish the season on the winning side of a record, I would call that a massive win.
So you're taking the Dolphins tonight?
Yeah. Oh fuck, I'm taking the Dolphins. Yeah, dude, I'm not touching the Raiders for the rest of the year.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Tua look good. I don't have any reason to fade the Dolphins against the Raiders that have just fallen apart. So
Falling apart.
that's pretty much all that I have on that one. Chad, if you got anything, please let us know. Outside of that, we're gonna move on to a game that is a little bit more intimate to the chat here. I've got the Cleveland Browns on the road in New Orleans versus the Saints.
Saints coming off a big win, dude. They beat the Falcons last week. The identity of the Falcons is completely up in the air. We could talk about it a little bit more when we get there.
Yeah,
but
sure.
That offense will put 40 points up and then 15 the next week. Doesn't make any sense.
They're playing a good defense this week. That's really the big thing. That can really add some kind of like jive to this. So
yeah, I'm taking the Browns. This is a snoozy, so probably won't be on my Sunday ticket channel on Sunday, but it's going to be. We'll probably. My guess is that this is the lowest scoring game of the week. Jameis Winston. The only reason I'm picking them is Jameis Winston's going back into New Orleans after basically becoming a third string quarterback there. They signed Derek Carr to replace him. Give me a famous Jameis game. Give me crab leg Jameis on Sunday against the Saints.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Browns here too, man. I can't trust the Saints as far as I can throw them. And when you get these kind of revenge games, I'm all about the revenge. So definitely looking forward to Jameis Winston having a big game.
Charlie coming back saying Carr's back for a couple of weeks, maybe. You might get
We'll
see.
You
might get 4 interception Derek Carr on Sunday. I have no faith in that man anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really given you a reason to believe in him. That's kind of the takeaway for me on that point. So, Pop's taking the Saints cars back. Okay, got it. Let me get them all in here. All right. Moving forward, we've got the Colts plus Anthony Richardson this week taking on the New York Football Jets. So the Jets are bad. Aaron Rodgers looks terrible.
How there's so many good games and then there's just dog shit games mixed into it.
There's just a few of them just smacked in there in between where they're just terrible.
Just a few turds and then some beauties mixed in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like high school.
Christ. Don't make me laugh too hard.
But yeah, we got the Colts taking on the Jets in New York at MetLife. Should be an interesting matchup here. Obviously, Anthony Richardson getting his first start since getting benched for some lackluster leadership skills, and Aaron Rodgers just not being what he used to be. There's a lot of people saying that Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career is washed. He should have quit while he was ahead. Certainly looks that way, but you never know. So let me take a dive down here and see. So Aaron's got the Colts over the Jets, and Corey actually has the Jets over the Colts, so they are split.
I'm taking the Jets too
on this one. Taking
I'm
the
taking the
Jets at
Jets.
home. What's the
Yeah.
reasoning?
Um, I I think that similarly the way that you feel about um, Caleb Williams,
So
that's
I do want
exactly
to
how I
ask
feel
this.
about
I
Anthony
do want to ask this
Richardson.
follow up question because like you have been a person like I have been like, man, the Jets are going to figure it out at some point, and you have constantly denied that. Like, so what's the change of heart here? Is it just the culture not that good, or
I I think Anthony Richardson is not and he's not ready to be a number one true NFL quarterback yet. That's my logic.
sure?
He makes a ton of mistakes. He puts his body on the line a lot. He's wildly inaccurate. He's I mean, and obviously the Colts have had some drops mixed in there, right? Like there's been plays that Richardson's put a good ball out. There's been drops. Every quarterback deals with that. But I I think the Colts, their record does not reflect what I think they are overall as a team. I actually think they're worse than the Jets. And obviously they're 4-6, so their record's not great, but
Sure.
I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're good at all. I don't think their defense is very good. I think without Jonathan Taylor, this offense would score 6 points a game. He's the majority of their offense right now.
I agree.
And the thing that's going to win the Jets this game is that Anthony Richardson will make mistakes and give the Jets good field position, and they can kick field goals. I don't think this is going to be like an Aaron Rodgers comeback game. I just think that this is a game where the Jets take advantage of turnovers and they win 12-9 or 15-6, something stupid like that. I do agree. I stand by. I think the Jets are bad too. That's why I said this game sucks. But
Right.
I think the Colts are bad. They're riddled with injuries. Obviously, I believe no Michael Pittman Jr. again, which that gets them down to Josh Downs, which he's played decently enough. He's good enough in absence. But again, if Jonathan Taylor can't get cooking, which I think the Jets will be able to figure out a way to slow him down, they'll be in a bad spot.
No, I don't disagree with you. I since seeing Anthony Richardson go out the way that he went out, like I can't bet on the Colts in any way, shape, or form. When it comes to the NFL, leadership is just a monumental attribute that you have to have, and he doesn't have it. It's very clear that he lacks that ability to just lead and lead by example. So you can expect me to most likely fade the Colts in every single matchup that continues to happen this year until he shows me otherwise.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
really
with
where
you.
I'm at.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I think he's a terrible leader. I don't discredit the fact that he is an incredible athlete. I think that all of that is on the table. But until you can show me the leadership skills, like I'm not going to bet on you. I
Yeah.
can't. Like
Yep.
I That's it. Like it's that simple. So like it doesn't matter how much talent you have around you at the quarterback position. If you lack leadership, I can't back you, and that's where I'm at. So um Pop's coming to the comment. Aaron Rodgers is likely Mickey Mantle in his last seasons. 1 week he bats 300 with 4 home runs and 10 ribbies. Next week he bats 210 with 15 Ks. Yeah, I mean maybe that's really
He's
it.
had consecutive weeks of the 210 with 15 Ks. He really hasn't had a good game since they played Tennessee. So
Yeah, he has not been great in any way, shape, or form. So
no, I mean he's done the thing that I think we see a lot of these quarterbacks that stretch their career out. He's just it's natural regression, right? I mean, Big Ben wasn't throwing for a bazillion yards every week like he was, 5 year when he had 5 years left in his career. Same thing. I mean, these guys just get dead arm and lose a step or two.
absolutely. Pops, so if you could please you're taking the Jets. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
That's a little bit further up. Roger that. Okay. Moving forward, we've got the Vikings on the road versus the Titans. Sam Darnold's availability is in question. He's got a throwing hand injury. There's not a lot of details on it at this point. I know that he was limited in practice for the most part today and going into the weekend. I don't know how much that impacts this matchup, to be completely honest. I would imagine we're all going to take the Vikings, but Todd, do you have any thoughts or questions?
No, I have nothing to say about the Titans right now.
Okay. Yeah, they're bad. They are bad. Tony Pollard is the highlight of anything that they have going offensively and defensively. It's just whatever. So,
Yep.
um, moving on to an NFC North matchup, we've got the Packers on the road versus the Bears. I know we've touched on this briefly. Caleb Williams has been nothing but disappointing. I mean, that's really all you can say, especially with the hype that he was given walking into the season. At the hype that not only the hype that he gave himself, that the hype that the media gave him as well. He's not been good. Their punter has more yards in physical games than he does, and that is not a stat that you want to have. So, I'm taking the Packers all day here. Aaron and Corey both have the Packers. Todd, what thoughts do you have on this?
Yeah, obviously they fired Shane Waldron. Dan Orlovsky made a really good point about Caleb Williams and this whole Bears situation that's going on. He said Caleb Williams isn't the Bears' girlfriend; he's the Bears' wife. You're married to him,
Absolutely.
right? So you're through it with him through the good and the bad. You have to coach him. That's the main thing. I think that's the key factor in this is that, 4 weeks ago, I don't think that he was playing terrible. I think he was playing well. And then the last 3 games that they've played, he's just had this it's been a tailwind down. So I think some of that is led to coaching. So he's had two offensive coordinators in his rookie year now. That's not great. That's not a good recipe for a rookie quarterback. I thought the Bears were going to make things interesting in the NFC North. I don't believe that anymore. They'll be lucky to win 2 more games the rest of the year. And, they'll have to, hopefully they'll draft, one of these 2 tackles from LSU to give Caleb Williams some protection.
Yeah. So I would assume everybody's got the Packers. With that synopsis.
Chat unanimously on the Packers as well.
Yeah. See. All right. Lions coming off an absolutely kneecap biting gritty win last week on Monday night in primetime. Down a ton. Scratch and claw their way back from a 5-pick performance from their quarterback. Nobody in their right mind halfway through that game thought that the Lions even had a shed of a chance.
I turned it off. I went to bed.
Yeah. Why watch it? Like,
I went to bed and woke up the next morning. I was like, oh shit, the fucking Lions
You're
won
just
that
like,
game?
there's no way they win that game. And somehow they fucking found a way.
It's crazy.
Yeah, defense stepped up like crazy.
Special teams, punt return for a touchdown. Crazy stuff.
Special teams, special plays, special players.
That's, you can't tell me that that's not the best team in football right now. Seriously,
I mean,
it's the best team in football.
It's the hottest team in football right now.
When your quarterback, when your quarterback has a 5-pick game and you still win, it's unreal. Like unreal to turn the ball over 5 times and still win a football game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw the last time it happened was Matt Ryan in 2012. Last time a quarterback threw 5 interceptions and their team still won.
And they're going up against a Jaguars team that is just reeling. They're bad.
Yeah. Biggest spread I've ever seen, 14.
That's
a 14-point spread right now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's absolutely no it would be unfathomable that they win a game like they won last week and then come back and you never know. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. But
yeah, everybody's taking the Lions. There's no way that you're not.
Yeah, no reason for you guys to put that in the chat. I already filled it in for everybody. It is what it is. Like that's the kind of game that is this week. So,
yeah. Ariel saying it, Lions all day, 150%, dude. No reason to pick anybody else but the Lions.
Yep, triple down. Moving forward, we got the Patriots. Patriots took on the Bears last week and took care of business. They won what, 19-3? They allowed 3
Yeah,
points.
9
Like,
sacks. Unbelievable, by the way. See,
yeah,
that's why I can't say you can't hate on Caleb Williams. He got sacked 9 times. That's fucking absurd.
yeah. It was a long day for the Bears last week against the Patriots that are not even good. So, and the Patriots are taking on the Rams this week, who took a tough L on Monday night to the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
Nobody predicted that game except for you, Ariel. So we would love to hear what your thoughts are on this matchup. But I know Corey and Aaron, they are in consensus here. They both have the Rams. This is I think this is a tougher pick for me just based off of the way that last week shook out. I'm still going to take the Rams. I have a little hesitation because I think the Patriots do have a little something there, and I don't think the Rams' offensive line is that great. But at the end of the day, the Rams, in my opinion, are the better football team, and that's where I'm going to land this week.
Yeah. Crazy that the Cardinals are in first place in the NFC West. They're on a bye this week. So I just want to reiterate that the Cardinals are in first place in the NFC West and they share a division with the San Francisco 49ers. Just weird stuff. Weird stuff.
Hey,
This NFL
we're
season's
almost
been
at
wacky.
Thanksgiving. We're almost at
I know.
Thanksgiving, baby.
I don't know. I think you might have to pick the bird after the bird's cut this year, dude. They're playing good football. They're playing very good football, actually. I mean, they manhandled the Jets last week. So,
Yeah, the
and
Jets.
obviously we said the Jets aren't great, but yeah, I like the Rams here too. They're kind of on a pattern right now where they have a down week, they have an up week, down up. This is the up week. Kyler Williams continues to play very, very good football.
Yeah,
This defense
agreed.
will figure out a way to get the ball back a couple times from Drake May. So give me the Rams.
Yep, samesies. I think most people will be in consensus this week. I don't think Tez is gonna fade or hedge his happiness this week with the Rams. So go ahead and mark him down for it. At this point, we are absolutely flying through these games. Obviously, we've got a game that's getting ready to start, or if it hasn't already started.
It just started.
Just started. Okay, perfect. Well, we got the last game on the 1:00 slate, and in my opinion, this could very well be the best game on the 1:00 slate. We've got the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Pittsburgh. NFC North matchup, one of the best divisions in football. Obviously, it is always arguable that it is the best division in football. Lamar Jackson has been hot. Russell Wilson has been playing some extremely good football. George Pickens, it just depends on the play. What kind of performance you're going to get from that guy,
Yeah,
whether
but
he's going to suplex somebody or he's going to make one of the best catches you've ever seen. So
trades worked out for Pittsburgh. Preston Smith played well. Couple that with Mike Williams having the game-winning touchdown. So
yeah, I mean, literally both of the guys that they traded for that week made big plays down the stretch, and it was just like how, like I'm literally sitting there watching that football game. You see Preston Smith get a absolute monster tackle for loss, and then Mike Williams catching that touchdown, on what was it? It was a fourth down, right?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Pretty
I was
confident. It was a
I
third.
was
It was a
listen, I
third
was
down or a
listening.
fourth
I
down. It
couldn't
was a
watch.
late play, and man, it was just so cool to watch. You're just like, holy shit! Like what the heck's happening right now?
Whoa, Ariel's saying that he thinks the Steelers are going to be the AFC representative for the Super Bowl.
Those are some big words, sir. Those are some big words.
Ooh, Landon Dickerson coming out limping heavy. Not good for the Eagles. Got rolled
So,
up on pretty tight.
in contrast to Ariel's pick, Corey and Aaron both rode with the Ravens. I have opinions on this game.
Let's hear 'em.
this is going to I think this game truly is a make or break for Pittsburgh. Like we're gonna see what they're made of. Like it's not a record breaking make or break, but I think it is a mentality make or break. Like
Okay.
the Ravens are arguably the best team in the NFL right now. Like Lamar Jackson is clearly playing some elite football,
Hmm.
much better than his MVP seasons that he's ever put out. The dude is rushing, he's passing, he's making all the right decisions, and this defense is the test. This is the test on whether or not the Steelers defense is truly what it is, like what the stats say that it is. And if they can pull it off this week, I agree with Ariel. I think they really do have a shot. I don't know, man. Like there's a big part of me that I have bet the Steelers the last couple weeks, and I truly don't know if they have what it takes to take on the Ravens. So I am going to hedge my happiness this week, and I'm going to take the Ravens. But I'm going to be fucking rooting harder than ever for the Steelers this week.
You should. It's your team, buddy.
I just don't know if they have it. Like this Ravens team is very good.
Yeah. It's the best offense in football.
Yeah.
Best offensive football. Stats tell you that. But this on the other side of that, they give up a shit ton of points.
They do. They do. And the Steelers have finally, I think, figured out how to put points on the board.
Yeah. So I'm actually taking the Steelers this week at home.
Oh wow.
I
hope you're right.
I said last week that if they beat the Commanders, I think this is a playoff. I'll call them a playoff team. They're obviously a playoff team at this point based on their record. They would have to literally fall into a million pieces to not be a playoff team at this point. I'm talking like lose out, which I don't believe will happen.
They're a good football team right now.
They could still go 10-7 and make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And that would mean losing 5 of their last 8. So they're playing very, very good football right now. You're right. They're putting points on the board. That's been the big stick of Pittsburgh the last 4 or 5 years. They couldn't score. They can't score. Now Najee Harris is injured, right? And I'm assuming his snaps will be limited if he does play in this game. So you're talking about Jalen Warren getting more carries. That's a completely different style of offense that they would have to run at that point. But Russell Wilson's moving the ball around very well. He's not making a ton of mistakes. The only thing I'm going to say is Pittsburgh better keep Russell's jersey clean because Baltimore will put the pressure on him and force the ball out. So if they stick to that game plan and Pittsburgh has a hard time getting the ball out, I could see this being a blowout, right? Like just turnover city. But I don't think so. I think that Pittsburgh will slow Lamar down enough that they don't score every other possession like they traditionally do. And they'll take one at home. They got to play them again on the road. So why not win the one at home? This is the AFC North. It's the toughest division in football.
Here's the thing, and I think you brought up a great point. Like the Bengals did a tremendous job of keeping time of possession. And they truly should have split. They should have split. They should have won that game on the road.
They should have won both games against Baltimore.
They really should have. I was at the game in Cincy. Obviously wasn't at the game on the road, but they did a tremendous job of not only keeping pace, but defensively in that second game, 2.5 quarters, they were all over it. They were holding the ball, they were managing the clock, they were putting points on the board. It was just, and I think that is where the Steelers have the edge against the Bengals in that regard, is that the defense is a little bit better, and I think that they can wade off that attack from the from the Ravens just a little bit longer. Not that they can hold it off, because I don't know if any team can hold it off forever. But
Not right now.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you can hold it off just long enough and you can put points on the board and you can capitalize, I think you can pull a couple out on them. So, I don't know if they're going to take this game, but I do believe that the Ravens Steelers split. I just don't see it in this one. Like, the Ravens are hot. I think the Steelers need a game to kind of gauge it and see where they're at and what they're going to bring to the table. And then that second matchup that they have a little bit later in the year, I think the Steelers take that one. But either way, I think it's a flip flop. It's just which team's going to win this week, which team's going to win later in the year. If you're right this week, you'll most likely be wrong later in the year, and vice versa. So,
right. Ooh, Jake Elliott just missed a field goal.
Great. He's my kicker in my fucking dynasty league. So awesome. Love it. Love to hear it. All right. Let's move on. We've got the Seattle Seahawks taking things to the Bay Area to take on the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey's back, but he's questionable.
He'll play.
He'll obviously play.
He'll play.
So, he took a majority of the workload last week. Obviously had a pretty big investment in the offense, and I think it's going to continue to be that for the remainder of the year, just considering the caliber of the player that he is. So this one is in San Fran, so obviously we don't have the crowd as much of a factor, as they would be in Seattle, but at the end of the day, this is a divisional game, so it could go either way. We've got Aaron taking the Niners. Corey is taking the Seahawks. So we've got a split here off the rip. I'm going to, like, in a game like this where I'm just not really sure where I want to go, I'm always going to side with the home team here. So I'm going to take the 49ers here. There's not a lot of statistical analysis to go with it, but I'm just going to ride with the home team.
Yeah, I think Corey's kind of hedging the Seahawks having a little bounce back here after a couple of coming off the bye week. Had a couple of tough losses right before, lost one in overtime to Seattle on the DeMarcus Robinson play. I understand the logic there. It's a good bounce back play. I'm taking San Francisco too, man. Seattle seems like they're getting through kind of like the freshman woes here with Mike McDonald as their head coach. They'll get it figured out. I think this is a team that, with the right personnel in place, I think they have some good pieces. I think they'll be competitive in the NFC West here in the next couple of years, but not the year for Seattle to make a playoff push.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really sure if Gino's the guy to kind of get you over there. But I think they've got a pretty solid core. I think if these games were like a series and not just one game, I think I could really consider Seattle as a viable team. But when it comes to one and done, and that's how the NFL operates, I can't really get on board with it. So that's kind of where I land there. Now, Todd, I know you had some thoughts on the Falcons. That's the next game we have on the slate. They are on the road versus Denver. Bo Nick's been playing some really good football. One of the better rookies in this class. And Aaron and Corey both have the Falcons. So where do you land here?
I'm taking Atlanta here too. Kirk Cousins has played worse at 1 o'clock than he does at 4 o'clock or in prime time this year. We're getting reverse Kirk. He gets to Atlanta, puts a chain on. Next thing you know, he likes staying up late. He likes partying. He likes going to downtown Atlanta, getting loose. Wife's watching the kids. He's hanging out with the boys. He's in the trap. He said all sorts of weird shit that white people shouldn't say. It's a 4 o'clock game.
This has been my theory all year.
I could very much see. I mean, Denver played Kansas City the best that anybody's played them besides Cincinnati. Honestly, that's the best anybody has played Kansas City. Kept them out of the end zone, forced them to move the ball down the field, got the ball out of Mahomes' hands, did a very nice job. If this was not a rookie quarterback, or say Bo Nix was year 3, they would have beat the Chiefs no problem in that game.
Sure.
But he's a rookie and he's still learning the league, and Denver doesn't necessarily have the weapons, right? But I'm taking the Falcons here. A little bounce back week for Atlanta. I think Atlanta plays much better when they play fast rather than trying to chip away. They have all the, I mean, probably the most athletic tight end on their roster, the most athletic running back on their roster. Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
And I think a big thing for me this year is with the coaching regime change, Drake London has turned into like a real legitimate wide receiver one. That's consistently putting up good numbers and making big catches and getting into the end zone. I think some of that just has to do with having a good quarterback. That helps a lot too. But yeah, I'm taking the Falcons here. I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFC. So
no, yeah, I agree. I love what Bo Nix is doing there in Denver. You know, it's exciting to see young guys have success in the league that don't come into the league and they're not like an egregious person saying, "Hey, like just walking in with all the confidence and then, you know, not being what they think they're going to be." So, Caleb Williams.
I picked up what you were throwing down there.
Yeah, so
you were not subtle about that whatsoever.
I know, but I just want you know, it's a beautiful thing to see people have humility and then go in and execute and let their play do the talking, and
it's fair.
That's where I live. You know, don't sit here and talk a big game. You know, don't talk the talk, walk the walk, and Bo Nix is doing that, and it's a great thing to see. But Kirk Cousins at 4:00, man. It's not Kirk Cousins at 1:00 anymore.
Right.
He's got a beard. He's wearing the hoodies. He's dapped up. So taking the Falcons here. Yeah, he's a changed man.
Also, my hot take, we don't have to go into this conversation right now. I believe Michael Penix Jr. will be the starting quarterback for the Falcons next year. That's a conversation down the road, but that's just where I stand right now.
All right. I like it. I'd love
I got
to
some
have
thought into that. Not a time for the conversation, maybe another time, but that's where I currently stand.
No, I mean, Kirk Cousins is the $180 million man. That's a bold statement. So definitely a conversation we have to have. Now a conversation that we've had time and time again. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. A conversation that is just it's like the Manning Brady conversation. It's just something that we constantly had. And, you know, I don't think it's unfair to compare Manning Brady, Mahomes, Allen because of how many times they have faced off and the caliber of player that these guys are. So this is a big game. This is a big game for the AFC. You know, this is obviously, you know, a perennial matchup. You know, it's a matchup that has consisted of, you know, the winner of the AFC moving on to the Super Bowl in multiple years that we have, you know, seen in the last 3 to 4. So this is a big one. And Corey and Aaron both have the Chiefs here. Chiefs obviously undefeated. There's a lot to be said with taking an undefeated team this late in the season. The Bills have a very, very good shot at beating this football team. I think Matt Milano is close, but I don't think he's coming back this week. From everything that I've seen, but it's not off the table. So, God, this is a tough one. This is a tough one because at the end of the day, This feels like a game that Buffalo should win, and then Buffalo's going to lose in the playoffs. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this one. Like,
That's fair. So I think a key factor in this game, Harrison Butker's on injured reserve.
yikes.
He's out. He's out next 4 weeks. They signed somebody off the Jets practice squad to be your kicker. Whatever. I don't give a shit about who it is. Harrison Butker wins them a lot of football games, dude. A lot of football games. A lot of super clutch 45-plus yard field goals out of that leg. And this game is going to come down to a field goal.
Do it. Do it.
I'm taking the Bills.
Do it because I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills.
We're going to split this fucking panel here.
That's but this is the perfect game to split. Really. Like, I'll be lone wolf on the Steelers game. This game should be a split game. It's hard as shit to go 9-0. It's damn near impossible to be 10-0, especially when you're playing the third best team in the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
this is, and you're absolutely right. Buffalo wins this game. If they play again in the playoffs, Kansas City will stomp all over them.
Absolutely.
This is because I don't know. Obviously Josh Allen's had his issues against Kansas City, getting over the hump of beating Pat Mahomes. It hasn't happened very often. I think it's only happened once, never in the playoffs, obviously. But yeah, I think this game's in Buffalo. Obviously, both teams are hot. I can't say a 9-0 team's not hot, but the Chiefs almost lost to the Broncos last week, and now the Broncos are in the wild card conversation. They almost lost. Pat Mahomes, if we're saying that he's leading the charge for this, almost lost to a rookie quarterback last week.
Yeah.
And if Josh Allen is anything, that dude is clutch in the regular season. He knows how to put it together. I just think that this is a game that Buffalo goes out. If they could get a couple scores quick and then slow Kansas City down, control the clock, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands, right? That's the recipe to beating Kansas City, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. They win this game. And then if they somehow end up playing each other in the AFC Championship game, Kansas City wins by like 10.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. 2 games left on the slate this week. Moving towards the Sunday night game, we've got the Bengals on the road taking on a Harbaugh and the Chargers. I know we say this every week. Bengals got to win this one.
I'm taking the Chargers.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers this week.
I'm taking the Bengals, but please explain.
I'm at a point right now where I don't have any faith in Cincinnati's defense. I don't.
It's fair.
I don't. And they could put if you have multiple games where you're putting 30 plus points on the board and you're not winning, that's a serious problem, dude. And here's the thing is that the Chargers offense has not been playing bad. They're not Justin Herbert's not turning the ball over. They've been running the ball very successfully. Lad McConkey is in the conversation for best rookie wide receiver this year. Like, things are starting to move. And don't forget, this is the best defense in the NFL out of the Chargers. Bar none, this is the best defense. They don't give up points. Like, they don't. Look at the games that they've played. It's not like they're losing blowouts. They don't give up points, and they put 20 to 27 up a game. I don't know if as of right now, I don't believe that Cincinnati has the ability to slow any team down offensively, consistently at least, except for bad teams who they should be beating. They should have beat the Raiders. They should have beat the Giants. They should have beat the Panthers, right? They should have beat the Browns. They beat teams that are very obvious wins. They're not beating teams that they should have beat. They should have beat the Chiefs. They should have beat the Commanders. They should have beat
the Ravens twice.
Their defense is taking them out of games. I don't really believe that their defense is going to be able to. You can't expect, and obviously Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for that. That's fine. I don't give a shit at this point anymore. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. And if anybody's not talking about him at least being the top two, you're not watching the same football I'm watching. If the
I really
concern is
don't know how you can
mobility,
argue it.
yeah, if your concern is mobility, watch what he does inside the pocket. If your concern is accuracy, he's number 3 in the NFL in completion percentage. What more can you ask from a quarterback? If it's diversity, he hit 9 different people last week. He's thrown for 5 touchdowns multiple times this year, 400 yards multiple times this year. Like, what are we talking about here? Why are people still saying that Joe Burrow is not the best or second best quarterback in the league? It's crazy not to say that at this point. It's nuts. I understand that they're 4-6. This is not at the hands of the offense. It's not.
Like,
These are defensive losses.
oh, 100%. I mean, if half the games that they lost went the other way, Joe Burrow would literally be like minus 750, minus 1,000 for the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, we would be talking about the best MVP race we've had in years between him and Lamar.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a question. Like, the dude has thrown 4 touchdowns plus in
almost every week.
In how many games this year? Like,
almost every week except for Cleveland, New England, and New York.
Yeah, and we're in week 11. So
Yeah.
like 10 weeks of
sorry,
played
at least
football.
3 touchdowns in 8 of 11 weeks or 7 of 10 weeks. That's ridiculous.
It's nuts.
And they're still losing games. Like it's unfathomable, dude. And
Joe Burrow has the worst stat in the history of the NFL. And it is the 2 games that he lost to the Baltimore Ravens. No quarterback has ever put up the stat line that he has put up in 2 weeks of football combined that he put up against Baltimore and then lost in both games.
Like, it is unfathomable.
Like 10 was it 9 touchdowns, like 500 or 600 yards passing, like
10 touchdowns. He threw 5 touchdowns against Baltimore twice.
So it was 10. It was 10 touchdowns. It was over 600 yards passing, I believe, or maybe even 7.
Over 700. He had 3. He had a 3 and a 4, and
yeah,
starting
it was just
both
nothing stupid. Like, and the only thing you can blame is coaching. Like, Luliana Rumo, he was up here their Super Bowl season, and that dude is literally, his floor is like the lowest of the low right now.
It's daunting, dude.
That dude cannot make adjustments to save his life.
And honestly, dude, I think the big thing is that the cornerback play is so bad.
Horrendous. Cam Taylor-Britt is trash.
He's the worst cornerback in the NFL right now. One-on-one, he's given up like over 600 yards.
I said that like week 2.
But the thing is that I hear you, right? I hear you on that. The first couple of weeks, he didn't play bad. He got burned 1 time in the first 3 weeks. Since week 3, he's been getting torched. And now it's 100% mental at this point, right? Like, last year, he was a top 10 defender in one-on-one coverage. He is the statistical worst this year. It doesn't make it is the only thing that makes sense, is that it's between the ears. It's not anything. It's not his ability. He's lost confidence in himself. Good quarterbacks are targeting him now, which they should, right? Like, you hit the weakest link. I don't blame him. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be throwing at him too. And then you see a couple, like, he had a couple plays in that game that there's a select few corners in the league that they can make. He had a ball that he batted down that he was 3 yards away from the defender, and Lamar put it on Rashad Bateman, and Cam Taylor-Britt got in front of it. There's no shot. I thought it was like, I don't know, like a 55-yard touchdown. Didn't even see him. Unbelievable. Same drive. They throw an 84-yard touchdown on a misread and a missed tackle by him. It's just, it blows my mind, dude. It blows my mind. Or the next drive, whatever. Like, it's mental at this point. It's frustrating. And you know, I unfortunately, I do think Anarumo, I think coaching plays a large factor into this, right? I've talked about that too. But sometimes the players just impact the game, and Cam Taylor Britt being bad is impacting them. Logan Wilson's is arguably the best linebacker, top 5 linebacker in football right now, and what his performance is. Trey Hendrickson has 11 sacks. How are they losing games 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Like how are they losing football games when they score 35 points, 33 points, whatever it is, 34 points? How are you losing football games? Just it's so frustrating, dude. Like it's the worst feeling. I would much this sounds ridiculous. I would much rather games be like how it was when they played Philadelphia than it has been almost all season when they've lost. Because you're so physically and emotionally invested in these tight games, and then there's just a total breakdown, and it hurts so bad. It's painful, right? Like, at least when they lost to Philadelphia, it was like, yeah, they just fucking blew it. They were out of it. They should have beat Baltimore last week. They should have. There's no reason that they shouldn't have. I understand that Chase Brown fumbled, and that wasn't a thing for Cincinnati with Joe Mixon. He just doesn't fumble the ball. But you can't just have a turnover and then just self-implode.
Yeah.
You can't. Good teams don't do that, dude. Good teams bounce back from turnovers. So fucking frustrating. Sorry, I got on my soapbox. It's so frustrating.
Okay.
It's so frustrating.
Hey, you're allowed to feel that way. All right. Well, let's move from Sunday night to Monday night. We got the Battle of Texas. We got the Texans on the road in Jerry World, taking on the Cowboys. Cowboys
this would have been a cool,
fucking bad.
Yeah, this would have been a really cool game, like week 3, week 2. The Cowboys are horrible, dude. That's a lost locker room. Seriously, like, you want to talk about lost locker rooms? That's a lost locker room. 110%.
Absolutely.
You got fucking Ezekiel Elliott just not showing up anymore. They benched him a couple weeks ago, and he just doesn't show up for practices. Shows up late. Says he's not invested. So you got to go and get Dalvin Cook. Then Dak Prescott getting hurt is like that's the most detriment. A quarterback getting injured is always 9 times out of 10 the most detrimental injury that you can have. But I would be remiss if I didn't say it makes me feel really fucking good for Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy to just have to suffer. And I hope they keep getting fucking. I hope they lose every game by 30 points moving forward. I really hope they do. I would lose negative 10 seconds of sleep if they just kept getting blown out.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees fans, they're all fucking delusional. Like, the fact that Cowboys fans still get on social media and say that they have a chance to somehow make it into the playoffs is fucking bizarre.
Especially at this point.
You don't live in reality if you really believe that. You are living in an alternate universe if you think that this team will sniff the postseason. Unbelievable. I'm so happy the Cowboys suck. I'm so happy about it. They go out and they give Dak Prescott $60 million. And again, injury. He was not playing well this year either. Let's call it what it is. He was not playing well before he got hurt. You could clearly tell there's animosity on the sidelines. Nobody's talking to each other. Positions hang with positions. Nobody's talking. I think Jerry Jones is probably, even with David Tepper being in the NFL, he's the worst owner. He might be the worst owner in sports, dude. Honestly. I mean,
I'm not going to argue with that.
To be as unrealistic and bravado is the word I want to use to describe Jerry Jones in a circumstance where humility is necessary. Good. He's an ass. That's the only way he's an ass. That's the best way to describe Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm taking the Texans, by the way, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I'm taking the Texans. So is Aaron and Corey. There's no reason to ever take the Cowboys at any point during the rest of the season after everything that we've seen. So
No. You know what's crazy is that we're talking the Texans were on all of our Raiders. I think we took the over on them. Everybody took the over on them to start the year because it was like 8.5.
yeah,
Like this is a team that's going to compete in the NFC East. The NFC East is going to be a gauntlet. They might have a top 5 pick, and if I'm them, I'm trading it. Fuck it, start over. You're sunk with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb's contracts. Sunk. You can't do anything when you're paying somebody $60 million a year. It's so hard to rebuild.
yeah.
They have no offensive weapons besides CeeDee Lamb. None.
No,
Their
you're
running
right.
back room's garbage. Their wide receiver room. I mean, not having Brandon Cooks is killing the Cowboys. That's crazy. Brandon Cooks I feel like he's been playing since we were in fucking middle school. Obviously, it hasn't been that long, but like he should not be the reason why your offense is struggling. Now, Jake Ferguson's fine. Tight ends in the NFL. Unless you're like Travis Kelce or George Kittle, you're just a part of the offense, right? You shouldn't be a major contributing factor. Jake Ferguson shouldn't have to be the leading receiver or the second leading receiver week in and week out. He wasn't drafted for that. But I think it's great. I'm sure there's a shit ton of Duke basketball fans that are Cowboys fans, and to them I say, fuck you, go Cats.
So yeah, you got to be elated with the new regime down there at UK. So
beat Duke. Hopefully, maybe after them winning one of these champions tip-off games, they'll get a 7:00 game next year. That'd be fantastic. Been playing at 9:00 since we were in fucking high school, dude. It's absurd. Constantly, and the games don't start until like 9:40 because college basketball goes really long when they're tight games, and these are supposed to be tight games. Yeah, it's good. Look, Kentucky has already exceeded my expectations in 3 games. I didn't expect it. I expected things to be different. I don't think Mark Pope is like fucking Mike Krzyzewski or anything, right? But I think Mark Pope has done something that John Calipari never did, and it's control the locker room. So that's my 2 cents on that. This is a football. We're talking about football.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about college basketball, but makes me happy. Go Cats.
Fair enough. We'll chat that as a podcast. Obviously a quick one tonight. I'm going a day later than we usually do. We've got a Thursday night primetime football game going on right now.
You guys want to watch football. You don't want to hear us talk for 2 hours. I don't want to hear us talk for 2 hours.
Absolutely not. So we will let you guys get to it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday for week 12 pick'em as always. But best of luck to the fantasy teams, and we will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.